Hello, everyone. Patriot 5 here with Patriot 6. Wednesday night, hump day of the week. Where's the week going? Hopefully, we're going to have a good show tonight. I don't know exactly what I got. A little bit here, a little bit there. Talk about a few things and talk to the kids. But let's get it started with the pledge and the music. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Think what a lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt as the God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gotta stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt of this land. God bless the USA. God bless this country. And I'm proud to be an American. At least I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Yes, God bless the USA. Proud to be an American. For all you kids, I hope you listen to that song. I hope you listen to it very well because it means so much. It means so much that, imagine a man that would write a song that would say if he had to start all over with his children and his wife, And there's so many people in the United States that feel that way. And today we had some really, really bad weather. We've been wanting to get rid of the heat so much here for a while because it's been so terrible that today we finally got rid of it. It's only 72 degrees out right now. Might be a little cooler, but we had such rain that you couldn't see the end of your car when you was sitting in it. That's how hard it rained. And I had to go pick some medicine up for Ron between, it rained on me, but not that hard. But the hardness was really, really rough. And it's just unreal what we're going through. And talking about the weather like that, it's going to be part of the show. But I want to get in with the kids tonight. Super Jimmy, I seen you had posted something. I didn't see what it was just before. I do want to make the announcement that TNT Tony is on right now. He's on the same time as us tonight, so I'm sure some of the people who's normally here will not be here tonight, and that's their decision. But we do have Bill Woods and Papa G and Janet. I seen Janet was the first one on. One Voice is here. David generally is here. Jeffrey's here. I'm missing something. Ron's here. We don't have a lot. We only have 46 people, but that's okay. It's the 46 that's supposed to be here. Papa G's here. Good to see you here, sir. I'm seeing so much people posting so much about it's done. And we know this, but I got off topic. I want to talk to the kids. Patriot 11, Patriot Wyatt Earp, Patriot Karate Kid, Patriot Princess, our queen, and Patriot Hunter, an amazing young man. I wanted to change what I said when I talked to him because for so long I've been saying Patriot Hunter, who is Patriot Princess, our queen's older brother, and it's not fair to him. You got Boogie, Boogs, Boogaloo, and Boogaroo, all Patriots, and John celebrating a birthday with the one just on Monday. Patriot little Leona and little Elan, and what them two children mean to me and my family, as Leilon was named after my aunt and Leona was named after my mom. Trying to think if I missed any. I don't think so. Patriot super gymnast, and my daughter posted a picture of her today, a little video doing her gymnastics out in the yard. And she just, as my daughter said, when she first started gymnastics, she couldn't hardly bend over and touch her toes. She was not inclined to do things like that. She has grown so much. And as I tell her every time I see her, there's nothing you can't accomplish. And she's a sweetheart. Patriot 7, who wants to know why Papa and him's not going fishing. And I said, because you're busy all the time. They accused me of not seeing him much this summer. How many guys, you guys know how many ball games I was running to. But when I was running to ball games for him, I was seeing all, the other 2 grandkids, and then the other 2 that makes the 5 live with me, so I see them. But it's hard to believe. My daughter actually asked me. She's teaching 2 weeks, Monday through Thursday, 4 hours in the morning for the kids who's got summer school. Why would you have summer school 2 weeks before school starts? And especially in August, when it's going to probably go back in that tremendous heat. But I forgot, kids in school nowadays, they have air conditioning everywhere. So, but Patriot Small Hank, I seen him this morning. No, I seen him last night. I didn't get to see him this morning. But their schedule, they left this morning at 8:30 in the morning, and they'll get home about 10 o'clock tonight. They're going to Bible school. They're going this. Man, when I was their age, I never left Buckingham. These kids are never in Buckingham. But Patriot little Little monkey, she got mad the other day. I was over at the house. It was the day that they came home, Sunday, the day they came home from vacation. And I stayed for about a half an hour, 45 minutes after they got home. And when I got ready to leave, she said, "You can't leave. We didn't get to cuddle." And I said, "Well, I've been here all this time and you haven't come to cuddle with me." And I think that's what she's going to miss the most when it comes to everything is she's not going to get to cuddle with grandpa 3 days a week, but she's looking forward to kindergarten. But and then there's Patriot Kira she's always on the go with her mother, and that's good. Let them be kids. To me, being kids was playing outside. Now it's this wherever we can take and do whatever we're going to do, and that's what it is. But for the kids, I just want you to know that you're about ready to see things. See things on your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents' faces when the things change the way they're going to change. You're going to see happiness, joy, laughter, and you're not gonna get in trouble if you spill a box of cereal, or you're not going to get in some trouble if you do something that maybe you shouldn't, especially when it's an accident. But when your parents, your grandparents, your great great grandparents, when they're under so much stress, how are they going to pay the bills? How are they going to put food on the table? How are they going to do this? How are they going to do that? When they're under so much stress like that, it's easy for them to yell. But they're not going to be under that stress. As I was joking with Mary Ann last night, when she was giving me a play-by-play of Bruce and the little call. I mean, Bruce and the big call. She was giving me a play-by-play. We got talking, and she told me that she was going to have to get off and go take care of some chores, dishes, because I guess she has to do the dishes. And I told her, I says, just think of it this way. You'll soon have your Rosie. You'll soon have your Rosie, and you won't have to do that. And she knew exactly what I was talking about. And for the kids and for the adults who's not thinking who Rosie is the robot on the Jetsons, And I said, well, what's even going to be nicer? Kids, just imagine getting up in the morning. Mom, what's for breakfast? You look in a cabinet. There's nothing there. So what? You go to your replicator and you just tell them what you want, and boom, it's there. Did you do your dishes? No, I just threw them in the garbage because it turns it into what it needs to turn it into. There is no more doing dishes. There will be no more garbage days. Everything will be thrown in this disposable dispenser and taken care of. What you want, you get up and, I look at Amber and Ella, what do you want for breakfast? I don't know. I was thinking maybe some bacon and eggs. And Liam wants waffles and something else. And Addison, she just wants cereal. Go get it. It's there. The thing we're going to have to worry about, folks, is we don't overeat because it's going to be at our disposal at all time. And yes, there's still going to be stores, and you're still going to have food in the house, and there's still going to be a lot of people that's going to do it. I'm going to be one of them. I'm not going to use that thing for everything I want, But kids, you're about ready to experience something that when I was your age, I dreamed of. When I watched the Jetsons, I dreamed of that. When Mary Ann was your age, she fell in love with Rosie. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, kids, if you have access to the computers, and I'm not giving you access to a computer, I'm not giving you access to the internet, but if you do have it, just go and Google on YouTube the Flintstones and watch an episode, and you'll see Rose. Huh? The Jetsons, I mean. The Flintstones, there was in a different time. But see, I can talk about the Jetsons. I can talk about the Flintstones. Now, if you talk to a kid, it's do 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 mommy do do do. It's the cartoons that they watch. I used to love watching little Addison, the little monkey, because she said, "What do you want to watch today, Grandpa?" Well, it was always, the shows that I grew up with. And when she would watch him, she'd tell Liam and Ella when they got home from school, "You got to come in here. You got to come in. You got to see what me and Grandpa watched today." And they show them. They go, "Wow, these are good." And the cartoons. I'm not saying they're bad, but there's some people on that has kid shows. When I was a kid, we had Captain Kangaroo and Bozo the Clown and things like that. We had great people to take care of us. Huh? Yep. But that's just what it is, and that's where it's going to be, kids. But just get ready, because the ride that your parents, the ride that your grandparents, your great grandparents, if you still have them, are going to get to go on, we're going to get to go on late in life. And yes, with these special beds, which I'll talk about, with these special beds, we're going to be able to live longer. But I've said this a couple times on shows. When kids say to me, my grandson, small Hank, will look at me and he'll say, "Grandpa Hank, do you know about this and this and this?" I said, "No." "Well, it's on the internet." "Oh." "Grandpa Hank, do you know about this and this?" You don't know about, you don't use your cell phone, Grandpa Hank, as much as a lot of people do. "No, I don't need it. I just soon have a phone out on the wall and talk to the whole town." And when we had that we could talk like that. "Well, Grandpa Hank, look at my tablet. I can find this and this and this. What did you have when you was a kid?" I said, "Outdoors, playing. We had all of this stuff, outdoors. In my yard, we have a trampoline and we have a swimming pool. But yet my grandson is in the house." Now, I will say about Patriot 7, this is a little boy that he does like to get on his electronic things, but for a short time. And then he wants to be outside throwing the ball against the house, against the roof, against it. My goodness gracious. If I had a nickel for every time my mom said to me or Ron or Russ, "Don't throw that ball up on the roof. You're going to put holes in the roof in the thing. Don't do that." And we just kept doing it, and she didn't care. But as a parent, she had to parent and tell us, "See, we didn't have things like this. We invented these things that you got." And boy, if we could just turn back the hands of time now and uninvent some of this stuff and make kids be kids and do the things that needed to be done, wouldn't that be an amazing feat? But that's pretty much all I got tonight, kids. And I did get going a little more because, see, I really love the segment of the kids, especially when I stay on point and I don't start talking about this and about this. And I just talk to you kids. And tonight I felt I really reached out and touched you. And maybe the reason I'm reaching out to touch you, maybe it's because it's within our grasp. Maybe it's because it's within our grasp and we're ready to embrace it and know that everything is going to be how we've wanted. Hi, CA. Good to see you here. John, good to see you on. Kuzmo, good to see you again. Trying to make sure I get everybody if I can. Carol Johnson, hi again. Let's see, anybody else? I think I've hit everybody else. But what we got? Janet's got some help tonight. John's on. But as Janet says, they don't mess with her. They know better. And that's the kind of attitude we need from our people. But kids, that concludes our show for the kids part of the show. We'll go into the regular show. Just remember, kids, this show is not meant for you unless you have permission from your parents, grandparents, legal guardians, someone that gives you permission that will not come back at me and yell at me for saying something, because I really, really try not to say things bad, but every now and then I get a little riled, and especially on the things that's happening right now, because what's happening right now is just off the charts stupid. That's all I can say about it, But the music we played tonight It's for entertainment purposes only. We have no legal rights to it. We Lisa's here. Lisa Pritchard from Tennessee. Well, hello, Tennessee. You get close to Nashville, down there where all that good music is. Well, baby, I think you love me. You know, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about Carrie Underwood. And Carrie Underwood has a tremendous voice. But David, CA, John, Janet, Srita, I didn't see you. Bill Woods, think about it. The music that Carrie Underwood sings today, in our day growing up, would that have been considered country? Man, if you didn't have that tang in your voice. What? Right?
He says Opie is on Tony. Eddie has always said that his last call he would have Opie on.
Ron wanted me to read something here. He's trying to read it to me, but we have fans running here and I couldn't hear him. Okay, let's see. Ronnie, he's on our Patriot 5 Forever site on Telegram. He just said, Okie is on with Tony. Tony has always said his last call, he would have Okie on. What's that telling you? Well, that sounds to me like it could be it, guys. I know we're getting reports that tomorrow we're going to get money. I don't know. Let's look at it this way. We were told we were getting money this week, but usually by the time we get to Wednesday, they're already talking about next week again. And they're not yet. Hey, Jamie. So that was pretty good news. Patriot Dana says, A to Z updates coming this evening. Hanging there, friends. Information is still moving, and we'll share what we can later tonight. Stay grounded, stay positive, and check back for details. We did get a few nuggets into the afternoon. TNT goes live in an hour, so he's on right now. When Ron found out TNT was going to be on at the same time as us, he contacted Patriot Diane and told her that if she's probably going to watch Tony, that if there's anything good, hey, Beth Shaw, good to see you here. Did you get any extra, Beth? I know someone else had said they got. Mike Davis said he got his and he didn't get anything extra. But that. Yeah. It for the Social Security, if you got yours today and you didn't get any extra, that doesn't mean you're not going to get any extra because it isn't the first of the month. You're getting yours extra early because evidently there's some reason, I don't know, but I don't get mine till the second Wednesday of the month. They might be out of money by then. But no, they won't be because here's something on Patriot Princess 777. Central banks lose grip. QFS rises. The Big N resets economics. Here's a picture of the hat. Be the calm in the storm. We knew this day would come. I thought there was something. Oh, um, this is something I wanted to read. And hold on. Russian missiles and drone attacks, air defenses were active throughout the night across the country and in Kiev, where air raid began around 8 p.m. on July 29th and continued until the morning of the 30th. Kiev, while air defenses in Kiev successfully intercepted many drones, falling debris resulted in damages to approximately 10 locations in the city, including residential buildings. Okay, when I read this, what I have been hearing, and I'm going to say a line I've always wanted to say. One of my sources told me that when you hear about this stuff in Iraq, not Iraq, but in Russia and what's the name of the other place? Huh? No, Iraq, Russia and Ukraine. I can't believe I couldn't remember Ukraine. I hope that don't get back to Julia. But when you hear about this stuff, I'm getting reports that this is all a show to make the bad people like the sleepy and the dopey and the obese and them think that they're still in charge, that they're still getting this stuff happening in these two countries. And I've heard from my sources say that there's nothing of that going on. It's just being reported. As a matter of fact, I heard from a certain person that I happen to know very well. She told me that, honey, she says, the other day on mainstream media news here in my country, they was announcing that we were under heavy artillery attack from that other country. And I said, really? When I wrote her back. But she went on to explain to me that where they said the attacks were going on, that the market that was supposedly taken out, that the lives were supposedly lost. She told me her mom and her best friend was at that market at that time, and there was nothing. So I've been telling her that I had heard this, that they were doing this, and she started watching. She started watching her mainstream media news, and over there it's just as bad as it is over here. Well, why wouldn't it be? Because we've given that country so much money to keep this going, so them terrible people that I just mentioned, Sleepy and Dopey and Obi and the guy that likes the girl down under, and I'm not making reference to our one of our new states that's going to come in in Australia, but the down under, we all know who that is. And the terrible person that he was so terrible, he didn't want none of this stuff to happen, so he took little paper airplanes and blew them into buildings and make it look like paper airplanes was literally in charge of this. But the people, I'm sorry, but the people that I just mentioned, they go to this GITMO, and we know that they're not there. We know that they're going to be there. They've long went to their special place in He with two L's, and they'll live there. They'll be there for eternity. But still, the fact is, he give up people's lives. He took people's lives. He tore families apart because of their greed for money. And yes, there's no one gets more aggravated about the hat than me at times. Oh, there's sometimes I wish I could, Patriot Savior used to call me a lot. Here's his number. Call this number and see if you can get a hold of him. Maybe he'll talk to you. I don't think so. I tried. Blind Owl, good to see you here. Okay, Blind Doll telling me to get my dancing shoes on. Oh, bye. Let the music play. What have you heard, Blind Doll? And tonight I didn't even want to do a show because of the weather, because of the other things, but I did. Here's another thing from Ronnie. Tony says banks are saying they will only make appointments for currency exchanges through the 800 number system. Some people rented a bus and went to a bank in masses, saying he had said to do so. LOL. Per Tony, intel today was non-existent. People have expressed concern to Tony about sharing the info he has today. It has been a process which each step needing to be taken to make it work. Someone else said something, but more or less, just a coincidence. It was an issue over the past 2 weeks. Secret meetings with Maliki going against Sudani. Ronnie never comes on here. But boy, I tell you guys, if you was members to Patriots Fight Forever and Telegram, this man he was relentless, the things he posted. Huh? So, I saw what? Yeah. Let's see what else we have. Let me go over here. Last night, I mentioned it. I've been talking a lot, guys, about. I have a question for everyone. My question here is One Voice, Bill Woods, Janet, Beth, Ian, Valerie, Beth, David. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Ian. But my question is, at my age, and I asked myself this question, I asked Ron this question. I said, what is better, to know what we know, to know what's about to happen, and every time it gets there, it gets taken away from us, or living the lives that our parents or our grandparents lived where they didn't know nothing. They just got stolen from, they got taken advantage of, but they lived great lives. Both my parents died at home with brain aneurysms. Both of my parents died with smiles on their faces. And I'm not patting myself, and I'm not patting Ron, my brother Russ, or my sister Rhoda. But I think one of the reasons my parents died with smiles on their faces because their kids never caused them no trouble. Never. We never got in any trouble. Well, every kid's going to get in a little. But I mean, we never caused our parents any trouble to the fact where they had to worry about police, or they had to worry about us going to jail, or they had to worry about getting money to get us out of jail. We, as I said, I've told in shows, when my mom got pregnant with my sister, who was the oldest one in the family, my dad said, as soon as you have the baby, you will not be going back to work. My mom thought, well, until the baby's grown a little bit. He said, no, as long as we have children, we're going to have a stay-at-home mom. Now, my mom probably made more money than my dad did back then, where she was working. And she loved to tell the story. She worked here. I never seen in a working place my mom work a day in her life, but I never seen a harder working mom. She was always there. She was always doing anything she had to do. If a kid had to get someplace, she was there. If a niece needed help, she was there. If her best friend was needing assistance, she was there. And one of the saddest days of my life when it come to my mom, yes, the day she passed away. But it was a great day until she did. But one of the saddest days is when my mom had to give up driving. And it was a sad day because my mom loved to drive. My dad never drove unless he'd go on one of his binges because he's normal. He deserved it. He deserved to go out and kick up his heels because of the way that man worked. I never seen a harder working man in my life than him. And he deserved it. And he took Ron one time. Ron was 15 years old. No driver's license. My dad, no driver's license. They drove from here to Kankakee so they could go to the fair. And my dad would get up there and get Ron working at the fair and get him working at the fair. And they would just work and get money. Ron get to go play and do games and this and that. Come home and he'd brag to us. He'd brag to me and Russ how he got to do things. Heck, one of the times they're coming home and Ron's driving, 15 years old. Yeah, he told me, he said, I went in that field. My dad didn't think you. See, he grew up back when you drove where you wanted to drive. You felt like taking a shortcut across the field. You took a shortcut across the field. And that's parenting, guys. But when my mom had to give up driving, it really set her back. My mom was a woman who also, she only went to 8th through 8th grades in school. But yet, I don't know of anybody in my whole life that if I took not one, but 2 or even 3 or 4 or 5 people and put them all together, read half as many books as my mom. My mom would read a book and she'd read a book. She got a book club going with a couple of nieces, a sister, and other people. That's 6 or 7 women. And they would go, each one of them buy a book every month. And that wasn't enough for my mom because she'd read a book a day. And she says, hey, how about we start buying a book a week? Hey, Ron and Ralph, you want to go get me that book? And we would, because that's what we did. She did so much for us when we got jobs and we could take care of her. It was some of the greatest times in the world. I've told this story. I bought a brand new 77 Chevelle. Brand new, beautiful car. I drove it instead of going home because this is when we lived on the farm. And this is how we were back then. I drove straight into Buckingham because we were going to play baseball that night. And I wasn't missing a game of ball because I bought a new car. So I go in and Ron sees my new car and Russ sees my new car. I quit early that night because I had to get home and show my mom and dad my new car. And I had a second set of keys made. And I walk in the house at the farmhouse and they said, did you get a car? And I said, yeah. She said, must took a long time to get, huh? I said, no, I got it just like that. I walked in, I seen it, I knew I wanted it, I bought it. And he said, wow. And he says, I says, come on, let's take it for a ride. And we walk outside and I hand my mom the extra set of keys. I said, you're driving. My dad went to get in the back. I said, you're sitting in the front. You guys are sitting in the front of your new car. And that's what I said. We went for a ride and we drove maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. My mom started heading home. I said, where are you going? She says, well, I don't want to run you out of gas. Don't worry about gas. It's got a full tank. Drive it. I want you to enjoy your new car. When I said your new car, I kind of meant our new car, but I said your. And after a half an hour driving, she finally went home. She told me she was so happy. I deserved a bowl of ice cream. But she wanted me to eat it before Ron and Russ got home so we could have ours later with them. And I said, what'd you think of your new car? And I looked at my mom and dad and they were hugging. And that wasn't something that happened a lot. They loved each other, but they didn't hug a lot. I said, you're crying. What are you crying for? My dad said, I didn't think we'd ever afford it and be able to have a brand new car. And it hit me. They took it literally. It is their new car. So I said, yeah, but I need you to do me a favor. And they said, what? I said, I need you to take me back into Key City Chevrolet tomorrow because I got to pick up my 72 Buick Skylark. So I went back in the next day and I looked at the guy and I says, You still got that Skylark? Yeah. What do you think? We're going to get rid of it? I said, I think so. I love the car. You want it back? I said, matter of fact, I do. He said, we'll give it to you for this amount. Heck, it was half what they give me for it, and they didn't give me much for it. I said, okay. I walked out. I told my mom I got the car. Now I had to go home and put my mag wheels back on it. I had to put my air shocks back on it and do the things to do it and make it look good. I drove that car for the next 4 years while I paid my mom and dad's car off. My mom drove that car for, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years. And when the car died, when the car wouldn't go no more, my mom said it was time to hang it up. And, guys, it's shows like this, and I love to tell my stories because I'm sure there's a lot of yous out there. Jason, maybe you, Stephanie. Good to see us both here. But I'm sure maybe some of you, Janet, have stories like that too with your parents. But see, kids wouldn't do that with parents nowadays. Heck, they wouldn't even worry about taking them and showing them their new car if they would even go and see them. Someone said, well, your son still lives with you. Isn't he old enough to move out? Well, he's evidently not. I told my son one day when my ex-wife looked at him and said, when you turn 18, if you're not going to college, you're out of the house. I looked at him and said, as long as I pay the payments on this house, you'll always have a place to live. And he's taking me up on it. He'd be 41 years old in September. But it's okay. But let's see. Like last night when we was doing the Bruce thing, I have some things here. I haven't read this, but I'm going to read some of it here. Breaking: the HAT activates QSF in military coup against the Federal Reserve. 97T seized Vatican gold, confiscated SHI token online, and Big G enforcement underway. On July 25th, 2025, President Donald J. the Hat didn't just visit the Federal Reserve, he seized it under direct military authority and backed by Space Force and Quantum Financial System. QFS was fully activated, launching the most powerful financial liberation in modern history. This is not theoretical, it's operational. The illusion of the fiat is collapsing, and the final battle for economic sovereignty has begun. QFS is online. The old world order is offline. The so-called Federal Reserve, a cabal-owned clearinghouse for the globalist theft, has been placed under military surveillance. Big G enforcement protocols are now live. Tier 3 and Tier 4B wallets are active under biometric NDA lock. SHI Sovereign Human Initiative. The first QFA token is already circulating inside redemption centers in Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Alaska. These gold-backed tokens are identity-bound, encrypted, and UNSTEALABLE, designed not for profit, but for restoration. The unified ledger, powered by QFS nodes and Starlight Quantum encryption, now governs all the transactions data globally. No fiat operation can bypass it. Every attempted elite payout in Monaco, Singapore, Tel Aviv intercepted. Over 430 black market transfers frozen. The Vatican Golden Reserve, long tied to, I can't read all of that, but you know what it was tied to. 97 trillion frozen. Black budget shutdown. Deep state wealth pipelines have been traced, seized, and neutralized by Space Force tracking pharma empires. DARPA backed population controlled programs. Child, you know what they do with them? Funds. All alleged frozen are assigned to clean QFS wallets. Every dollar will be quantum audited. Every asset will be verified, and every fraudulent claim, account, and title will be seized. The collapse is visible and orchestrated. As of July 27th, Japan is insolvent. Germany frozen pensions. The UK blocked by private withdrawals. The euro hit 30-year low. These are not random events. These are targeted collapse of the dying fiat beast whose spin has forced snapped by quantum force. The Federal Reserve has already suspended forward guidance, a quiet admission of defeat. There is only one path forward, and that's the central bank's only downward spiral. Big G rollout, the end of debt, tax fraud, and corrupt banking. Over 130 nations are under biometric compliance. The IRS is gone. Consummation based taxation replacing corrupt income theft. Redemption centers are processing QFS conversions. Every savings account, loan, and investment will be recalibrated through QFS authorization. The EBS emergency broadcast system is scheduled to activate once global compliance hits active. This will trigger full QFS token deployment, SHI becoming the world's sovereign currency, biometric onboarding of all citizens, military tribunal disclosures, public dissolutions of Federal Reserve, liquidations of illegitimate debt structures. The Hat's final mission, he didn't return for another 4 years, 4-year show. He returned to collapse a system built on slavery, theft, and lies. QFS is his weapon. Big G is the blueprint. Space Force is the firewall. SHI is the new currency of the free. The elites are concerned. Their networks are bleeding. Their money is gone. Their tunnels are sealed. QFS is live. Big G enforced. SHI is real. I need a break on that one. And then here's what Brucey had to say last night. For anybody who tried to listen to Brucey, good luck. Intel only. Bruce wants to tell us he's connected with 4 of our Big Call Universe pod members and have all shown interest in Rebuild America. And the first meeting, we are going to do something in North Carolina where the flooding was. So 2 of us will be flying and driving 2 or 3 day trip to meet with some people we've contacted. So in essence, he was talking about that. Bruce also said that we should be receiving the numbers today around 2, I think it was, or tomorrow. The Doge money is still scheduled to go on the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd, which will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this could be the weekend of our lives. And, I don't know how much the Doge money is going to be. It's going to be what it's going to be. Bruce didn't have a whole lot of other information. If you tried to listen to him, he talked like a rabbit running a race. I mean, you couldn't understand him. He'd go, we're supposed to get the money today or the numbers tomorrow. And it was just really fast, and it kept breaking up and terrible, because, it's funny because when the other people are talking, when Sue is talking for her hour and endless nothings, when Bob is preaching about how great his products are, but constantly telling us how sick he is. And someone asked me the other day, they said, are you talking to people about your projects? I said, sure, some of them. People in our group, because you understand. Do I go and talk to my brother Russ? Do I talk to my kids? I don't talk to them about the projects because I have not went to my town board to talk to them about rebuilding our town, about the plans that I have. And I really want to sit down with them and give them my plans, just the board members. And then when the board members, if they see it, And believe me, the greediness of some of these board members, they're going to see, because they're going to think cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching coming into their pocket. They're just not smart enough to realize that the cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching is going to be coming to them regardless if we rebuild our town. But there's so many things I want to do. But if I was to go to the board members and say, this is what I want to sit down and talk to you about, and I would give my proposal, they wouldn't even take me serious. They would probably ban me from the town. And that's what I'm trying to explain. You can't give everything and have it on the table ready right down to go. But when I go do my presentation at the thing, I will, at the Redemption Center, I will tell them exactly what's going to happen. And see, it's not just my town I want to rebuild. Once we get it going, I remember when Eileen, I like to say, worked with me on putting together what we need for the redemption centers. But it wasn't we worked together. It was I would talk to her and she put everything together. She did it all and then left. I mean, we're giving things away that other people charge for. And that's the one thing in closing tonight. In closing, because we covered so much that a lot of the stuff that's in Judy Bidington's we covered when I was reading stuff that other people had sent. But I just think we just need to take a deep breath. I mean, guys, when I say take a deep breath, I take so many deep breaths every day because I can't survive if I don't. For the main thing, me and Ron was talking today, and we both said we don't know if anything will really happen. Will we get the Doge money? And then just before the show, I came down here tonight to prepare for the show. And Ron says, he starts telling me about this is here, and this is here, and this is here. And to me, I feel it give us a chance to really, I guess what we're looking at right now in my eyes is TNT Tony. We're waiting for him to bring it down because here's Sharon Becky, who always sends me an emoji every day to get my day started. But she says, well, Ralph, are we ever going to make it to the final line? Yes, we are. And then she says, we're still waiting for TNT to give his major announcements. Well, and then I got back with her and I told her that Ron told me, well, no, I didn't. I got to send that. But Tony was on at 7:00. I don't know if his show runs long. To be honest with you, I've never listened to a show of Tony's, TNT's. I hear he's good. We don't get it? I get X. I'm a member on X. But there was someone else that sent Linda. Oh, yes, the hat did order English only in schools, hospitals, government, officers, and all public services. And I'm not saying that that's necessary, but the one thing that upsets me is when I call in and I want to check my bank account. And I call into this number that I can do, put my PIN in, and it'll tell you, press 1 if you want to continue in English or 2 in Spanish. Why? It should just say, if you want to continue in Spanish, press 2. English should be there automatically. There should be no questions about it. And that's one of the things. And, I mean, there's these earbuds they have out now. I had a pair until it broke. And they really work. I was in a store one day, and I had them in. And I had them in there, so I had them in both ears. And I had it in there Because I was going to a store and I knew there was going to be a lot of people speaking Spanish in there. And when someone said something to me in Spanish, I looked at them and I answered them. And they said, they don't speak English. And I said, here. And I handed them one of my earbuds. And they put it in their ear. And I spoke in English, and they received it in Spanish. And when they spoke in Spanish, I received it. And that'll work. And I think we're going to need that because, see, guys, we're making Canada a state. And they got their own language. You know, them Canadians, you know how they talk? And I can't even talk like them. I really can't. But we have the Canadian lingo we're going to have to deal with. Supposedly, you know, well, we've talked Mexico is going to be a state, you know, down under, and down under's neighbors, it's going to be states. Is it going to just be the United States of the world? Think about it. Would that be bad? Would it be bad? I mean, you can still have your own currency. You can still do whatever you want to do. But, and that's another thing. I believe Canada has their own currency. I'm not sure. Or do they use all U.S.? If there's anyone from Canada, you do have your own currency, right? So I was not a history buff, so or a social studies buff. So please forgive me. I'm not insulting anybody's country. I just don't know. But is Great Britain going to become part of the United States? You know, I mean, we should. What that Queen did is unreal. But anyway, guys, that's about all I got tonight. Let me take a quick look here. People worked hard to get me Judy Bidington, so the one that I read. So let me see what they got real quickly. This is Judy Bidington, the 30th of July, 2025. And one of the reasons I'm kind of trying to get done with the show tonight is I'm really, really hungry, guys. I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten all day. I was supposed to go get blood work done, but the weather was so bad here, I just wasn't going to drive back over there and get the blood work done. And see, I have to fast before I do. I've had nothing to eat all day. The hat seizes Federal Reserve quantum financial system fully activated, most powerful financial liberation in history. Q was created long ago, 1860, April 1st, when 20 generals placed Abraham Lincoln into office to fight the Kardashian Mafia. Ariel on X, good morning to you good folks of the good old USA. What does the future have in store for us? We have Iraq positioning itself to global via Forex listing. We have John Ratcliffe ready to release files to expose the deep state. We have the tariff money kicking in. And we all know what happened in 2020. That stolen thing that happened that year has been exposed. The greatest inflation in history, the global economy spiraled into chaos, engineered supply chain disruption, reckless spending, and central banks manipulation crushed the middle class. The goal was clear: destroy financial independence and push the masses into economic servitude. But Trump, monumental comeback, despite unprecedented attacks against him, he has kept going. He's never looked back, and he is now crippling them. Deep state fall and arrest. This is year of reckoning. 11.3 operations are in motion. A new era of global peace with the deep state dismantled and its operators removed. Okay. TNT, 29th of July, Tuesday, 29th July. That can't be right. It would be, yeah, it would be. Yeah, 27th was Sunday. Tuesday, 29th of July, TNT, we have a live rate. It is on the Forex, and we will see it in the morning. Monday, August 4th, 2025, Wolverine Tier 4B redemption starts. New rates could show up on the Forex. I don't know where he's seen that, but anyway, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. We'll be back Friday. We might be back earlier because if Tony comes out with some really good information, if we do start getting money tomorrow, if anybody gets money, please let us know. And just keep working on your vibrations. Keep being happy. Don't worry, be happy. It's a lot better to smile than it is to frown. So anybody who wants to frown, turn that frown upside down. And with that, we're going to say good night. God bless. We love you all.